Hello, it's Richard at Richard's Guitars. I've got some. I'm feeling feisty this morning. I'm meant to be somewhere, and this has been playing on my mind, and it's a really big deal to me, and it's a big deal for direction of acoustic guitars, and it plays into so many of the kind of concepts and philosophies I talk about to do with marketing and business and profit. So we're talking about the Taylor V-bracing. Taylor V-bracing, this fantastic, wonderful new breakthrough concept that is now being unveiled on Taylor guitars. And it's come up a number of times, and because it's come up a number of times, because naturally people are wanting to know, is it something that's going to occur on my brands? Is it something that, how does it compare? What do I think? So let me tell you what I think. You know, what do I think? You know, it's bullshit. Oh, no, I can't say that. I've said it. It's on the tape. So there we go. Now look, this is. Excuse that phrase. I shouldn't have said this. BS. And I say it is. I'm going to label this video. My truth about Taylor V-bracing. Okay, my truth. Because I'm already whirring around in my head thinking, okay, I've just said it's BS. No, it's not BS. It's my personal opinion that it's BS. Okay. So that doesn't make it fact. It makes it my opinion. So it's up to me to give a sort of you know, a defence to the case, isn't it? My case against the proposal that the Taylor V-bracing is total BS. So I'm just going to give it you from my personal perspective, my history, and how I can kind of come to these kind of assumptions. And this way, every single time that phone rings and someone says, how does a first guitar compare to the new V, what do they call it? V system or something, I don't know, some cringy marketing name they've given it. The V-bracing, I'm going to call it. How does it compare? So let's just rewind. My history in guitar retail, I used to sell all of these brands. We would sell 10 guitars a day, 7 days a week. Okay, that's my history. 10 guitars a day, 7 days a week. When I'm spouting on about stuff, it doesn't come from just nowhere. It comes from a knowledge and an understanding of these products and how I've seen product development work. So one of the first things, Taylor guitars were my best-selling brand. Okay, and that's really important to put into context. Taylor was my main premium line in the old days, in the days of mainstream retail. Okay, and Taylor guitars were my main selling line because they were extremely consistent, and they certainly compared to a Martin, which were massively inconsistent. And that was, I used to pull my hair out. People used to ask me, you know, if the phone rang and they said to me, Richard, I would love to buy my Martin from you, which one do you recommend? My recommendation would be to go around 10 shops, find the best one and bring it to me, and I'll set it up. Now, any Martin owner will vouch for that they're not consistent. They don't all play the same, they don't all sound the same. There's some good ones and some bad ones. Well, I'm not involving myself in that. I'm not getting involved in that. That isn't. You can't be a specialist in a product if your best advice you can give someone is, well, don't actually buy the one that I get out the box because I can't guarantee it's going to be any good. What kind of life is that as a specialist? Right. So that's why Martin guitars were not my favourite. Taylor guitars were my favourite because at the time, and based on the knowledge that I had, they were the premium product. Because like you, I grew up in a world of being told what stuff is like and how good things are, and I grew up wanting to be a Taylor dealer in my business life, and so I was a Taylor dealer. And I thought they were great. I thought they were lovely, you know, based on my knowledge at the time. One day, First guitars came along and completely changed the parameters of what I realised an acoustic guitar should sound like. And there will be many acoustic guitar builders out there that will be just nodding their head going, yeah, there you go, a guy that found the light. Realised that all that crap you hear about in the magazines and stuff, it's a fallacy, okay? It's a marketing tool. Products have to be sold, units have to be sold, and for big shops to sell guitars, they need volume, okay? They do not want guitars that take ages to be made. So that's just, let's get it real. We're dealing with a mass-produced guitar here, with an incredibly strong brand name, you know, get back on track, Rich. So Taylor guitars, the first development that I witnessed was the I can't remember which one came first, but one was their kind of their development into the sort of solid body kind of hybrid territory, with the T4, I think it was called, T5, Taylor T5. You know, and it kind of, that particular development sent me sideways a bit. I was like, well, hang on. And even then, I was questioning stuff like, what? Can I see myself? Yeah, I was questioning things. How did we go from being this guy with blood on his fingers, I used to talk about, and blistered, you know, Bob Taylor building his first acoustic guitar, to this kind of concept where they're suddenly experts in hybrid electric guitars? You know, because that isn't a crossover as far as I'm concerned. That isn't, if you're great at building acoustic guitars, it doesn't suddenly mean that you're making the very best hybrid electric guitars. And I was right. It was mediocrity, complete mediocrity, and it was totally expensive. I was selling a guitar at the time. Well, yeah, off the back of that guitar that came out. That's right, 'cause it couldn't have been out before it. The Crafter brought out a, because I remember being disappointed by this guitar. Like, oh, it's not really a great acoustic. It's not really a great electric. And I was trying to juggle with it in my mind about how I wanted to portray this. And then Crafter brought out a copy guitar, and it was like 500 quid. I was like, yeah, okay. Great, I've got a guitar now I can recommend, because it was kind of, that the Crafter did everything I wanted it to do, and it was a great concept, and I really liked it. But at the price they wanted, the Taylor T5, you've got to remember, I was selling Auden guitars at this point, who had been doing hybrid guitars forever. And I remember seeing in Guitarist magazine, even then I was building, this is years and years ago, 15 years ago, so probably within 5 or 6, 7, 8 years of me being in business, I remember seeing Guitarist magazine that reviewed the Taylor T5, and then it always gives alternatives. And I swear to God, one of the alternatives it gave to a Crafter T5 was a Fender not Teleacoustic. It was a Telecaster with a Fishman piezo bridge. And I'm like, what world are we living in? Like, what about Auden? Auden, the specialist in this field. So yeah, it was painful dealing with that kind of development where you've just got to toe the line and okay, Taylor T5. I think I probably sold 2 or 3 Taylor T5s and did not enjoy selling them. It was never a guitar I recommended. And then, so the next development, or I can't remember which way around it went, but Taylor then brought out the expression system. So we went from the Fishman, I can't remember which Fishman it was, it was a big bit of kit in the side of the guitar, you know, and I would argue that, yeah, you know, aesthetically, I'm a big fan of internal kind of systems that you know, a big block of plastic on the side. But it's great. It's a functional bit of kit, really functional. You had ways of cutting out the feedback, like a notch filter, good strong EQ system. I can't remember the full, but it was a great bit of Fishman kit. It was the top end of the Fishman market at the time on the side of the guitar. And they went to the expression system. Now again, even though I was still in my early days of cynicism at that point, I was like, what are they doing? Like this expression system, when you put it on your lap and you moved it, it was microphonic. The guitar was microphonic. So if I put my hand, and then as I sort of tried to position it, and you think, well, who can play that guitar live? Who can play an expression system guitar live? And so I thought I had a faulty guitar, and they was like, no, that's how they work, that's what they are. So I couldn't get my head around that. Now I think Google and everything else was early on then, but I'm sure the internet was pretty around at that point. And I know, because I know that I researched up online, and it did not take me long to find forums with reams of complaints about the expression system. So this all began the kind of like disheartenment or sort of disenchantment of me being connected with this premier prestige product. And I probably didn't realise at the time as much then that this is just how business works. My cynical view would say the expression system was introduced because they no longer required the Fishman brand name to sell their product, and it would be clearly cheaper to bring it all in-house. This is my view, this is just my thoughts, this isn't the truth, it's my truth, my perception of what was going on. You know, I don't want to get into trouble over all these comments, because ultimately this is just my view, and all the views that I express are based on my experiences, which can be validated, and so I'm sure there's nothing I'm saying here that's too untoward, that is too derogatory. No, it's derogatory, of course it is, but it's not made up. So we've got an expression system that I could not understand, and then obviously First Guitars came along, blew me away, and I was like, no, and that's where I became very depressed with my business. You know, this is another one of the threads that was going on that made me ultimately close that business down with depression. Okay, so that's the history. It's like these products had a profound effect on my life because I wanted to be honest about what I was selling. So now I've got this so bringing us back now to the V bracing. My immediate view is, oh crap, what have we got here? Another bit of marketing. So why do I think it's marketing? I think that Taylor are trying to pitch a position in the market where they know they've got a massive following. They know that if they get some named players playing with a V bracing system, then nobody else could, you know, there's no one else that can copy them. Well, they can't, they have to produce something that copies something and says, yeah, we got the V bracing. And if they have the momentum and enough interest in V bracing, that then encourages others to kind of follow suit, or they feel they need to compete, then you're going to have this whole kind of new wave of V-braced bloody guitars that frankly I couldn't give a damn about, and it's going to really do my head in if that's the way it goes forwards. So why don't I give a damn about it? Well, I'm going to provide loads of links, and what I'm going to do, right, is I'm going to provide you links to people endorsing the V-bracing. These are people that are saying, yeah, this is great, okay? I want you to research the facts as they are presented, I would say sort of engineered, and then look at the facts about the product and how they're being told to you in the video, and then listen to what they're showing you. Listen to the guitars. Listen to the guitars. The V-bracing, the best I can tell you what it does, based on my watching of videos and understanding and reading Guitarist magazine, and I saw a video on Anderton's video, which I'm putting a link in below, which I've got to laugh at, right? You know, is this the phrase that I will just relish is, like X bracing but better. Yeah, like X bracing but better. Wow, that's amazing, isn't it? Isn't that fantastic? We've got X bracing but better. Just think about what the phrase really means. What the V-bracing does, from what I could tell even in that video and several others that I watched, is that they say that the V-bracing, let's get to the crux of this, how many minutes am I in? 14 minutes. The V-bracing, calm down Rich, the V-bracing, apparently it sorts out intonation problems, okay? It's one of the key selling points of the V-bracing is that it makes your guitar intonate better. The concept of intonation is that strings vibrating along a length, and because the density of the strings changes, I mean, I'm not a physician, so please don't shoot me if I get this wrong. I'm bound to get it wrong, aren't I? But this is the general concept. Because the strings are different thicknesses, so the word density may have been wrong, was it? They're not necessarily different densities, but different thicknesses. There's more volume, physical volume of string, and because they vibrate, I presume, at different speeds, theoretically, the point in which you create a true note is actually the distance is different between each string. I think something like that. But it's a concept that we can kind of deal with the saddle. You'll see you'll have compensated saddles, which slightly move backwards and forwards sometimes. And on electric guitar, we compensate it with little adjustment screws, which you'll see on your guitar. So you can adjust the intonation. But on acoustic guitar, it's fairly fixed, and different manufacturers use different sort of saddles for different kind of ways to deal with that. But ultimately, this is when we talk about a problem, we're talking about, we've all been producing music and listening to music through the ages, through the years, and all the music we've ever heard has been played on these guitars, and the concept of poor intonation really is in the world for scientists and people with acutely sensitive hearing, or people who are just more interested in the kind of precision than the performance. You know, it just isn't an issue. It only becomes an issue when the intonation is wildly out and to the point of aggravation. But you've got to bear in mind that we as a human being don't hear, we have to hear 3 decibels of sound volume before we even hear the volume's gone up. We have incredibly insensitive hearing as a breed, or whether that's as a race. Our hearing as we get older gets worse, and you've seen the video, you know, you've seen the demos where you have the child through to the older person. You can literally put people into their age group just by having a note raising up in pitch, and as the pitch gets higher, people can't hear the higher tones, and therefore you can count how old they are because they're older. The sooner they lose the higher pitches, the older they are, and so we have very insensitive hearing. It gets worse as we get older, and I dare to say a lot of fine acoustic players are in the Middle Ages, let's say. So this whole concept. So let's give them credit. Let's just say, okay, let's say it does solve the problem of intonation, which is their biggest selling point for the whole freaking system. Is like it solves the intonation problem. How does it solve the intonation problem? Okay, let's go on to that. You're talking about if we imagine, the only way I can visualize it, if I look at my fist, if I imagine my fist as the central tone, that's the pure note. What Taylor are saying, and forgive me if I'm wrong, but watch the videos and you'll get the idea, and you read the research or whatever, the marketing pitch. You've got a central core, and then around this central core, imagine you've got like overtones sort of pulsing around it, let's say. So we've got a central note, and then we've got overtones. The way the note unfolds, the way the note develops, and you know, if you imagine you've got different instruments, you're going to hear the same note, but you hear something different, and because it's formulated in a different way. A keyboard will sound very different to the guitar, to the violin. All of these notes have the same pitches or the same notes, or capable of producing the same pitch or same note, but the way we hear them, right from the sound of the instrument and the way that, you know, the violin and the reed, whatever it's called, the note is generated in a different way. So with an acoustic guitar, a lot of this note is generated from the internal rumblings of the guitar, and what they're basically saying is by changing the way in which the top moves, they can eliminate, remove, get rid of overtones that cause the intonation problem. So what are they actually doing? They're stripping back the sound of the guitar. That's what they're doing. That's my truth, my view, my thought. They are stripping back the sound of the guitar. They're taking away the tones that existed, or overtones, and they are making it. Now, I have always described Taylor guitars. Now I have a wider range of reference, a Auden guitar, a Lakewood guitar, a Furch guitar, an Eastman guitar. I have a wider range of reference points now. Sorry, Doug. Oh, sorry, Doug. Auden guitars, incredible. Auden guitar. Look at me, I'm spoiled for choice here. Auden, Eastman, Furch, you know, Loudon, Lakewood. These are just crazy guitars. All of these guitars are brilliant. I have reference points to work out whether a Taylor is my preferred sound. And a Taylor guitar, I would describe as sterile. Okay, it's a mass-produced guitar made in high volume, very well branded, very well marketed, has a range of endorsements, obviously. People with big shops need to sell lots of volume, and magazines that need to sell magazines, magazine publishers need to sell their magazines. So you need content for products that are deemed as popular, to be well reviewed, to be sold in shops, to keep the economy moving. So you've already got a guitar that is basically sterile anyway, and now we want to remove the tone from the guitar to solve a problem that doesn't exist, unless you're a scientist. There you go, that's my view. There you go, I feel better now. I feel better now, I've got that out of my system. Oh, don't have to talk about that again, do I? Don't have to. So the next person who, so if you're a person that's just rung me up and asked me, Rich, how does the V-bracing compare to the guitars that you sell? I'm sorry to have put you through that, but that's my truth. You asked my opinion, you asked me what I thought, and now it's in a video, so now I can, you know, it's there, it's out there, it's how I think. And I think what I've got to also do is accept that this kind of video does not buy me any friends. It doesn't buy me any friends from people who own Taylor guitars. Let's start with that one. I am not saying for a minute that you can't have a Taylor guitar and own it and enjoy it and love it. Of course you can, and of course you do. You're possibly one of the people that own and love your Taylor guitar. I don't expect you or want you to even agree with everything I'm saying. And naturally, if you've had your own experience, you're not going to. And please refer to my other video, Your Truth, My Truth, Can We All Be Correct? What I want to be able to do is break down barriers so we can talk about this stuff. You know, you talk to me about how you love your Taylor guitar. Post it on the comments below and tell me, because there's clearly, it's a massive volume product. There's going to be people out there who absolutely love their Taylor guitars. Of course they are. Of course you are. And this video isn't here to undermine your thoughts or your views or your feelings. And it certainly isn't here to say you're stupid or you're, you know, because this is what I get accused of, oh, you're just undermining me. No, I'm not undermining anyone. I'm telling you about my feelings and my expression of thought. And it's really important that I'm able to tell you my views, my truth. So I don't want to undermine anyone, so please don't hate me for saying stuff about a brand that I've had a huge amount of experience with. It was my biggest selling brand, and it, you know, clearly it caused me a lot of issues because of my feelings that I felt. So none of this is made up, and I'm hoping this video is going to be really useful to you. So the Taylor thing. Yeah, I mean, I'm just preparing for the outfall, you know, of negativity. But you know, I give it out, so I've got to expect it back, haven't I? So again, life balance. Just try and keep it real, everyone. Try and be nice. But I do want to get comments back. I'd love to know the feedback. But if you give a comment that is basically, oh, what a load of BS, you've just basically made up a load of rubbish to try and bring down your competition. Well, I'll leave it on, to be honest. You know, why not? But you're wrong. If I thought they were great. In fact, let me just finish on this point. I know I've waffled on. I should have stopped a minute ago. The first thing I saw, and it was actually, I'll be honest, it was the Anderton's video that I saw. And in fairness to Lee Anderton in that video, I think he was very dignified in how he went through that video. And this isn't about Lee. I'm now going to talk about myself. Being a retailer for a product where you are so high profile is incredibly difficult. It's a genuine, you know, how do you please everybody? How do you run your business with integrity how do you keep the people you're doing business with happy? There will be expectations of you to present the product in a favourable light, and I think, in fairness, I think going back to the Lee Anderson video, I think he approached it very. You know, he had to step back from the whole thing. He wasn't drawn straight in. He wasn't sort of raving about it like it's the best thing since sliced bread. That was my impression, anyway. So this certainly isn't. But I think what is more important to me is I need to give you references where you can see people's feedback in below, the comments below. Oh yeah! Oh my God! Oh God! There's something I've got to tell you. Where am I? 25 minutes in. I've got to tell you this. One of the videos I've given you, I'll try and keep this quick, because this is classic. If you've got 25 minutes into this video, you are doing so well. And I don't expect, the average viewing of a video is 8 minutes. So I presume for anyone who makes it to 25, means that most people stop after about 2. So there's nobody watching this anyway, so I can do anything. Right, sorry, calm down. Right, okay, quick. One of the videos, it was a video of the YouTube channel Acoustic Letter. There's a guy and another guy. One guy's like a player. I don't know whether the other guy's a retailer. I'm not even sure what Acoustic Letter is. It might be a shop. I think it might be a shop, or if it's not a shop, they just are an online video review for acoustic guitars. So check them out. Acoustic Letter, free advert. Because free advert from me and my few thousand subscribers, they got a lot more subscribers than me. So the point being is a guy standing with a guitar, and the guy gives him a guitar, this Taylor guitar to play, and he says, so he goes, right, try that one. It was serious. Try that one. And you'll see the link there. Plays a few chords. He goes, right, now try this one, and he gives him the guitar, and the guy plays it, and the guy stops and he goes, he says, straight away, more tone, there's more bass in this, I'm feeling more fullness of tone, yeah. And then the guy pats him on the shoulder, and he pats him on the shoulder, he says, now, you don't know why we're here today, do you? He says, you don't know what we're doing exactly. He goes, no. He says, right. He says, the first guitar that I gave you, he says, you've got 2 guitars. One is the Taylor, I think it was the 814, the Taylor 814. He said the first one I gave you was the 814 V-brace, or whatever the hell they call it, V something, V system guitar, and V-bracing anyway. And he says, and this is a 2017 V-brace, the non-V-brace guitar that you've got currently in your hands. And I mean, they should have edited the video. They should have. I mean, in total fairness to them, in absolute credit to them too, they didn't. But by not doing that, they've kind of just let the cat out of the bag straight away. In the first 30 seconds of that video, my battery's running out. In the first 30 seconds of that video, the guy said he preferred the 2017 model. It sounded fuller, sweeter, warmer toned. And that is my view. The V-bracing system sounds brighter, thinner, edgier, and there we go. Battery's running out, thank God for that. I can go and put you out your misery. But I'll put all the links in below. Bye for now. See you soon. Bye.